The Alpe d'Huez, the most famous climb in cycling history. It is the climb of the Tour de France. Whoever wins the Alpe d'Huez stage gets legendary status. And the record for the Alpe d'Huez climb is held currently by Marco Pantani. And this is a record which has stood since 1995. Using some clever calculations, being able to augment the official race timings over the years with the official Strava segment for the Alpe d'Huez in order to create a unified top 20 of the best performances up the Alpe d'Huez. And these are the results. In 20th place from 2004, Jose Azevedo, a 36 minute 13 second roughly performance up Alpe d'Huez, which is 2 minutes and 22 seconds slower than Marco Pantani. And in 19th place is from 2003. This is decades ago, but this performance was good enough to be the 19th best performance, according to my calculations here. 36 minutes and 8 seconds, 2 minutes and 17 seconds slower than Pantani, 6.05 watts per kilo. This one, Sepp Kuss. Sepp Kuss actually held the official King of the Mountain for a number of years up the Alpe d'Huez. He did it 36 minutes and 5 seconds according to the segment. 6.13 watt per kilo. Insane level of watts there for a 61 kilo rider. Winner of the Vuelta, of course, Sepp Kuss. And it was on this day where a lot of records were made up Alpe d'Huez, up this ascent in 2022 on stage 12. And the last time we ever saw Chris Froome at the front of a Tour de France stage after his injury, after his crash, which ended his career pretty much. But this was the last time we saw Chris Froome actually competing for a stage for anything at the Tour de France. And it was won by Tom Pidcock as well, with a great performance going up, but it wasn't actually fast enough to make the top 20. Here's Sepp Kuss now leading the peloton. Pogačar and Vingegaard have a little bit of a 1-2 attack kind of thing going on. Geraint Thomas with his last big Tour de France result here. He got the podium, didn't he? Pogačar's really trying to get time on Vingegaard here. We see Enric Mas is also here just in the background, Movistar kit, making his way into this result as well. Geraint Thomas at the same stage. He did it just under 6 watt per kilo here, 425 watts. That's huge numbers for 36 minutes, 2 seconds. 71 kilos is Thomas. He's a big guy, really, for a GC contender going up these types of climbs. 15th, Jonas Vingegaard. We obviously know he won the Tour that year. Did it in 36 minutes, 2 seconds, 2 minutes and 11 slower than Marco Pantani if he was to ride this segment. Again, just a reminder, these times are normalised to the segment. So the actual full race timing is a bit longer, so these times would be a bit longer, but I'm trying to unify it into one measurement. So this segment is the benchmark to calculate what it would have been if it was just a 12 kilometre segment. And Pogačar, pretty much exactly the same time, 6.06 watt per kilo, 36 minutes at 400 watts. It's going to be really interesting at this Tour de France, going up Alpe d'Huez twice, but particularly that first time. Is Pogačar going to go for the record? Is he actually going to go for it? Is he going to go for the segment, or is he going to go for the official race timing? We'll see what happens, but I imagine he'll want both. He'll go for the climb in its entirety, but try and do it at such an insane pace that it will just beat the records completely. I think he definitely has what it takes to do it, but whether that will fit into his strategy on the day, whether the heat is going to cause problems, we'll see whether he does go for it, whether he can even break the record. But at the moment, his time from 22, which wasn't his best year at the Tour de France, he was very strong, but by this point in the 2022 Tour de France, he'd lost the yellow jersey. He cracked on Col de Granon, and he paid the price for not fueling well enough, for not pacing well enough. So this is not peak Pogačar. This Alpe d'Huez effort is not reflective of his best. So he's going to definitely improve on this time, I imagine. But is he actually going to go for the record? That's what the question is. Carlos Sastre, 2006, an estimated time even better than Pogačar here, 36 minutes 1 second, 2:10 slower than Pantani. Now we have a performance that didn't actually occur during the Tour de France, and it is an official result from the segment. Did it in a time of 35 minutes 56 seconds. The watt per kilo there is actually less than other riders, but it doesn't always come down to watt per kilo, because you can ride a climb in a lot of different ways. The best way is to obviously pace it as perfectly as possible, so you're not burning too much energy in the earlier part of the climb that you're going to save, and measure your efforts so well that you maximize your output over that period of time. 406 watts, 6.06 watt per kilo, an insane performance. This guy, he's got an interesting story actually. If you research Jack Burke, Laurent Madouas, French rider, this is all the way back in 1995, and he did it in 35 minutes 45 seconds. We're starting to get below that 2 minute deficit point now, a minute 54 slower than Pantani. We've got Arthur Blanc. Now this is another effort that wasn't done during the Tour de France. This is the actual king of the mountain on the Alpe d'Huez segment at the moment, but with my calculations factoring in the official race timings that are not on Strava, this performance falls in 10th overall, a minute 47 down on Pantani. Andreas Kloden, 2006, this is the 9th best effort, 35.38, 389 watts, 6.18 watt per kilo. Now this is that stage in the 2006 Tour de France where Kloden got this 9th best time on these standings here, and it was a stage that was won by, I think, Frank Schleck won the stage. The results here, you can see Andreas Kloden there. 8th, Floyd Landis, the American, winner of the Tour de France. Same stage actually, this is just ahead of Andreas Kloden, 35 minutes 38 seconds, a minute 47 slower than Pantani, same time as Kloden, 6.11 watt per kilo, 415 watts. We're starting to get into these infamous performances now. 1997 Alpe d'Huez, and this is the day that another record was made by Richard Virenque, who won the King of the Mountains jersey at the Tour de France many times actually. These are elite performances, every single one of them, and it just keeps getting more insane, these results. But the 97 Tour de France, I think this is Pantani as well. This is Virenque now, going for it up Alpe d'Huez, setting an amazing time. And Jan Ullrich won this Tour de France, I think, and Pantani is also here. He's a record holder, but it wasn't this year in which he made his record, but it is one of the all-time best efforts up Alpe d'Huez. Nonetheless, he's a legend of the Tour de France, is Pantani. Bjarne Riis, he's a Danish rider here, 71 kilos, he was a beast. 71 kilos, 1.84 meters. This is a big guy for a climber doing these types of all-time amazing performances. But it is during that dark era of cycling, 35 minutes and 19 seconds, a minute and a half slower than Pantani, but 6.13 watt per kilo, which requires 435 watts for a 71 kilo rider to do this Alpe d'Huez. I can feel my legs hurting just saying those numbers. That is crazy, but that is the 6th best performance up the Alpe d'Huez. Alpe d'Huez 1995, and it is a legendary Tour de France. In fact, this is the Tour de France of the all-time record. Alex Zuller, same Tour de France, same day, he set 35 minutes and 17 seconds, which is just 2 seconds faster than Bjarne Riis. 441 watts, he was heavier than Bjarne Riis. 6.12 watts per kilo. This is insane. These numbers make me, I'm just in awe of these numbers. I mean, if you've ridden the Alpe d'Huez, and if you're in tune with your body and you know how many watts you can produce for 35 or so minutes, then you know that what you are looking at here is it human? Is it human? Miguel Indurain, a 5-time winner of the Tour de France. He's done it in 35 minutes and 17 seconds, 1 minute and 26 seconds slower than Marco Pantani. Same time as Alex Zuller. And get this right, Indurain was huge, 76 kilos, Will we see a 76 kilo rider riding up the Alpe d'Huez, 461 watts for 35 minutes? Indurain was an absolute champion, an absolute beast. Third best time, the third best ascent of Alpe d'Huez. Now listen guys, if you've not watched old cycling videos, go and watch them. These are legendary stages of the Tour de France. This is the history of the sport. Yes, I know doping was going on, but it's insane. This is history. This is the tradition. This is what cycling is built on. And love it or hate it, these days made cycling what it is today. Second best performance ever up the Alpe d'Huez. Can it go to any other man than Lance Armstrong, the 7-time winner of the Tour de France, American, 72 kilos, again, relatively heavy. Still, you can just look at these numbers, guys. Look at these numbers. 6.24 watts per kilo, 449 watts, 34 minutes 42. Now these are estimated because obviously they're not on Strava, because obviously Lance Armstrong didn't have Strava. Okay, so this is the day in which Lance Armstrong did this performance. This became the second best all-time Alpe d'Huez ascent in history, and it was a time trial, which changes the dynamic significantly. If you are focused on the climb and the climb only that day, and you don't have to spend any energy pacing in the group beforehand, doing other mountains even beforehand, you're going to be fresh, you're going to be ready to give it everything up the Alpe d'Huez. And this was a time trial. He was in beast mode and he destroyed the other GC contenders. He passed Ivan Basso, who started 2 minutes ahead of Armstrong. And this is one of the best performances by Lance Armstrong ever. And well, the record obviously proves it. He won the stage. Of course he did. This is the record. Marco Pantani, the Italian, the pirate. Look at these numbers. 33 minutes, 51 seconds. 386 watts. Now this guy's light. Big advantage. Up a steep climb like this, that's this long. It's going to make it easier for you, and it is going to make you go quicker if you don't have to carry as much weight up there. And if you can also produce close to 400 watts the whole way up, that's going to help too. And the watt per kilo translates to, we're coming towards 7 watt per kilo here, but it's 6.65 watts per kilo to set a legendary record which stands to this day as the fastest time to have ever gone up the Alpe d'Huez over 12.02 kilometers, 1,047 meters. This is the record. This is what Tadej Pogačar wants to be. I'm sure he wants to be up there. I mean, he has to. I mean, the Alpe d'Huez is the most famous climb in cycling history. He has to set the king of the mountain. He has to get that Strava king of the mountain #1, but he also has to officially be the fastest to have ever gone up the Alpe d'Huez. If he can do that, then, I mean, what's left? What's left? I mean, he's won pretty much everything now, bar a few things. I can't even think right now what those are, but everything that matters, Tadej Pogačar has won, and if he can do this as well, then it will stand the test of time. I don't see anyone else. I mean, this record has stood now for 30-something years. 30-something years, 31 years, this record. And if it can be beaten, how much longer will it stand for? Maybe, who knows? Maybe a lifetime. Pogačar could have this record and stand it for a lifetime. But we'll see what happens. And obviously, some of these results are not. I know they're not absolutely perfect. I know that there'll be some drift, probably, especially in the power numbers, and maybe the times as well a bit. But these are approximations, but they do come across quite consistent and match up with the record. And when we look at the stage finishes, the riders, the times they did it in, it matches up well enough. I can be quite confident that this is a reliable top 20. It might be missing a couple of people, but it is fairly reliable, especially up here in these top 10 positions. Have you noticed a pattern? These top 10 results, these are all from that era, the era of doping. The question is, can a clean, or I say quote unquote clean rider, I'm not saying Arthur Blank, obviously Arthur Blank, as far as I'm concerned, it is clean, although it probably isn't tested the same way as actual World Tour pros are, but I'm not going to say he's part of that bubble, but sort of from maybe this point onwards, these are riders that have been involved in the doping scandals, and sadly Pantani is no longer around. He obviously passed away tragically years and years ago, but he is a legend of the sport, the most legendary climber in cycling history for sure. And I would have loved to see him race for longer and do better in himself to be able to get to races and do more races, do more Tours de France. It would have been great to see. And do you remember that year as well that Armstrong gifted Pantani victory on the Ventoux? I think it was on the Ventoux. These are all stories that come from this era, but there's a pattern here, and it does reflect the doping past. Now, can a clean, or who we hope is clean, Pogačar, can he beat notorious dopers up the Alpe d'Huez? Let's see. If he does, that's going to be an interesting conversation to have, because it really, either he is just the absolute best the world has ever seen and maybe will ever see ride a bike, or there's something going on. But let's not get into that in this video. Guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the Alpe d'Huez stage. I'll be there in person on the climb. I'm really looking forward to that, to witness history with my own eyes. But for everyone else who will be there or will be watching over the TV, enjoy that stage, because I think that stage is going to be special.